You've gone through all of this stuff here. Um, you have good days, you have bad days.
Yeah. I mean,
More bad than good. More good than bad.
it's probably even now. In the beginning, it was 100% bad.
Yeah.
As time goes by, they're about even.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I spend a lot of weekends in bed just
Yeah.
trying to get through to the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that suicide doesn't rear its head daily,
Yeah.
but I refuse to let them win.
Yeah. 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 We talked about this just a little bit, and I remember one of the things that you said is that, you've got to be here for your children. You've got to make sure that these things are done, and hoping that by knowing that you have to do these things, enough time will pass that the healing will come forward, and that will no longer even, that those thoughts will not even enter your mind. Do I have that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to hurt my kids.
Right.
I don't want to hurt my kids. And I learned from Chad through this tragedy that there's a lot of things that you need to do
Yeah.
before you're gone. And if I can say that to anybody, get an attorney and make sure you do all of these things. Because if you're gone suddenly, I mean, we didn't obviously expect this. We were living our best life. We had had lunch together and gone and bought a camper, and we didn't expect this.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And so much was left undone.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting through trying to figure passwords out and bank accounts out and businesses out and everything that needs to be done. And my one thing is that I'm not going to do that to my kids.
Right.
And so if I'm gone, I need to make sure this is done and this is done and this is done and this is done. And so whether I'm gone by cancer or an accident or suicide, and that's, what we talked about, I need to make sure all of these things are done. So my hope is that by the time I walk through these things that I know need to be done, I'll make a decision to not be gone.
Yeah.
Instead of the decision that I want to make today.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you though, in those times, you've got to make sure, and I'm sure people have talked with you about this, because I've had friends people that I've known that have committed suicide, and all I can say is that there are circumstances you can put yourself into, drinking alcohol, playing sad music late at night, start playing with stuff, and it makes it more temptable in a sense.
Absolutely.
Or weakens your defenses, and do anything that you can to just keep yourself from those situations and have, I think that when people go through this, there's a lot of times that others around them don't know how to say anything, and they kind of avoid you because they're like, I don't know what the right thing is to say. What do you say to those people? Just be there?
Absolutely 100% agree. Most people don't realize where I've been.
Right.
People just want you to get over it. And
Right.
they've gone on with their life, and they don't understand the deep grief and tragedy. Oh, you were only married 2 months. He was the love of my life. He was my world. I don't care if we were married 2 months or 25 years. He was my everything.
Right.
And the despair that I feel is something that you don't understand it until you go through it.
Right.
And honestly, I look at my dad who lost my mom. She was 57, but she had been addicted to pain pills most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So she had ruined her body.
Yeah.
They loved each other, but it was different.
Yeah.
And my dad he understands losing someone at a young age.
Right.
But he doesn't really understand
What happened to you?
the trauma of what I've been through.
Right.
And most people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And most people, I have to say, of Chad's friends, one of his friends has reached out to me.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from most of them. And I guess I would say to people, reach out.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a simple text to say, hey, I'm thinking about you,
Yeah.
love you. You don't have to put yourself out there to show up all the time. But just to know, hey, I know it's still hard.
Yeah.
I realize that this isn't something that's just going away.
Right.
And those who do that for me have meant the world to me.
Right.
And I have one person who reaches out to me every day.
Yeah.
And he has encouraged me. Chad and I worked out 3 to 4 days a week together.
Yeah.
We went to the gym.
Yeah.
Every 3 to 4 mornings together, and we worked out. And when this happened, obviously I just became a doormat, and they had to put me on meds to just pretty much knock me out. I mean,
Right.
just keep me dormant,
Yeah.
basically. And, I have someone who I was, I'm not, most people don't know this. I was drinking from morning to night.
Yeah.
Because the minute I wake up in the morning, I'm replaying
What's just taking place?
what just happened
Yeah. And how do you dull the pain?
and dealing with it. And the only thing that numbed it was drinking.
Yeah.
And so I started drinking from the morning till the night.
Yeah.
And once I went back to work, I'd come home at lunch and I'd drink. And then when I come home after work, I drank. And it never ended.
Yeah.
And I finally had to, a friend of mine, he was like, you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And, that's what I wanted.
Yeah. That
But
was
in,
a secret.
that's
wish in a
okay.
sense,
That's what I wanted. But in a sense, like I told you, I have so many things I have to do before I could do that.
Right.
That I've got to take all these steps to take care of myself until I can get to that point that I have everything in order, because I don't want to leave my children in the position that I have been left in. And, so I went back to the gym. I slowed down my drinking. I have tried to slowly get my life back together. I don't want them to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't want them to win.
Yeah. So I know that my understanding is you've been to church and stuff like that too, and sometimes the Christian community doesn't know how to handle the stuff either. But what I've told people in the past is that in the New Testament there was a person who was a paralytic, and somehow they knew they had to bring him to Jesus for healing. But how did they do it? They had to have people carry him to Jesus. He couldn't walk there on his own. So they carried him on a bed. And then they get there, and they actually tore off the roof, which they could do at that time, and they laid him down in front of Jesus from the roof. And there are times, Jennifer, where basically you've got to be able to say, I'm the paralytic. I need the people to carry me. And we forget about that a lot of times. It's nothing that, it's part of the human experience that we go through. But the people that are there to carry you and to take you to Jesus and, the healing that he can bring. It is amazing, but we are still human beings. And if you need to, I would say this, find the people that you can that are close to you just to say, hey, can you call me, help me, The thing that you were talking about with drinking, to numb the pain, but then drinking also lowers the defenses, which makes it more possible that, you might try something either. But to the people that know you, you don't have to say, hey, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I don't know what to do. Call up Jennifer and say, hey, I don't know what to even say or do, but how are you doing? And those are the people that can mean a whole lot to you at the time.
Yeah.
So keep going on. I mean, I know it's difficult, but the tragedy is that, like you said, that it would end before your time. And it should not do that.